Okay, so this video is going to be a stop demonstration, or a stop tour, if you will, of a virtual pipe organ. Now, if you don't know what this is a platform called Grand Orgue, which is a virtual pipe organ simulator. And the way that it does this is a sample set. And the way you make a sample set is you have to go to a physical pipe organ that was actually built and record audio of each and every pipe within that organ and have its own sound file for each pipe. And when you have a series of audio files for each pipe within a rank of pipes, you put all those audio files into a folder. So essentially, in virtual pipe organ, a folder of audio files is the equivalent to a physical rank of organ pipes. And I'll show you what I mean. If I open a stop and I press a key, I'm not actually playing a physical pipe. What's happening is I am triggering an audio file that has already been pre-recorded and put into the system. And there are organ settings that you can apply, such as a MIDI keyboard, where it will only trigger the audio file based off of the keys that you press on a MIDI keyboard. So if you plug in a MIDI keyboard and you press down the key, it will start and stop the audio file based off of your inputs. And essentially that is the basic essence of virtual pipe organ, at least Grand Orgue. And this particular organ is an extended version of the Berea Church organ. So, on with the stop tour. We will start in the Great Division, with our first stop being a stop that I already played a moment ago, with our principals starting off with an 8-foot principal. So essentially, the number on the stop knob, the 8, that indicates how long the largest pipe of a rank is. So that means the pipe that plays the lowest note of a rank, and this rank in particular is 8 feet long. So 8 foot, hence 8-foot principal, that means the largest pipe of this principal rank is 8 feet long, which is that pipe right there. So 8-foot principal, and then the 4-foot octave, an octave higher, and then a 2-foot octave, a second octave higher, and then on top of all that, a 5-rank mixture. Very high-pitched, and if we add both octaves and the principal to the 5-rank mixture, we have ourselves a principal chorus. This should sound pretty familiar. That is what is considered classic organ sound. The principal chorus is the classical organ sound. So, moving on, we have plenty of flutes on this organ. Here we have a 2-foot flute, which is 2 octaves higher than standard pitch. And what I mean by standard pitch is 8 feet. 8 feet is standard pitch. Now, the reason it's standard pitch is because middle C on the keyboard, it plays an actual middle C. 4 foot, an octave higher, middle C is now an octave higher than middle C, and then for 2 foot, 2 octaves higher, middle C is 2 octaves higher than middle C. So basically that's how you can determine which octave things are in based off of pitch, based off of length of pipe here. So 2-foot flute. Beautiful flutes. Here we have an 8-foot gamba. Here we have the gamba an octave higher 4-foot gambette. Here we have a beautiful 4-foot chimney flute. Here we have our 8-foot gedakt, which is long wooden pipes, which is more flute. Then the extension of that, a 16-foot Borduna. Now, having this be 16 feet long, that means the largest pipe of this rank is 16 feet long. Hence, the result of that being some very low notes. I would recommend turning your volume up for this particular section of low notes here. Now, this low C right here, that's only 8 feet long. Here's the 16-foot octave. So, if you're wondering, no, there was not an earthquake, that was simply just the 16-foot low C of the Bordun, is all that was. That's literally how low that note is, 16 feet long, that's over a full story, like a story and a half tall. Almost 2 stories. Pretty long pipe, some pretty low notes. And the reason that you would need some notes that low is if I have some other things going on, like let's say we have an octave, a chimney flute, and then a 2-foot flute, and then I want the 16-foot Bordun in the background for some nice low notes. It sounds like this. Okay, so here it is without the Bordun. Everything is very high-pitched. The 16-foot Bordun adds a much deeper, rich baritone sounds in the background. Like so. Then we have a 2-rank Sesquialtera. Now this is unique because the first octave of this rank only has 1 rank of pipes playing. And then as you get to the second C, which is the C below middle C, the second rank of pipes jumps in. Like so. Let's see, Gamba. Here we have an 8-foot flute. Once again, 8 feet long, nice and low note. So that is our 8-foot flute. Then we have some trumpets way up here. Here is the 4-foot trumpet, and this is the largest rank of the Great Division, are these here trumpets, because it is split into 3 different stops of 3 different pitches. So 4-foot, 8-foot, very loud low notes, and then 16-foot trumpet for some extra loud, even lower notes. So having that be a 16-foot reed on a manual is very fun. So there's that. Then we have a 4-foot coupler, which basically plays the same note an octave lower within the manual you're using. So like if I activate the 4-foot octave and I play middle C, and then I open up the coupler, it will now play middle C and an octave higher than middle C at the same time for me. So I'm not actually putting down both fingers, I'm only hitting one key on the MIDI keyboard, but it plays an octave higher for me. So pretty interesting, and here is the tremulant with, let's take the 2-foot flute with a tremulant. Pretty interesting sound. That is the organ equivalent of vibrato is a tremulant. So that was our great division. Let's move on to how about the positive division. So we have, what do we have here? We have a 2-foot principal, the smallest principal rank there is in the organ. Pretty high notes. Then we have, I don't exactly know what it translates to, but some form of a 2-foot flute. Then we have a 4-foot flute that goes with it. Then we have some interesting quints. 2 2/3 flute quint. And because it is 2 2/3 feet, what that means, the lowest note is not a C, but is now a G. Then we have a 1 1/3 quint here, which is another flute. So once again, the lowest note is a G, but an octave higher. And here they are combined. Makes for a pretty nice sound. Then we have another quint here, a 1 3/5. Now that is a fifth, so that means the lowest note is going to be an E. And also one quick disclaimer that I should have made at the beginning of the video is that if you see all 3 manuals and pedal board playing at once, that's because I only have one MIDI keyboard, and I've taken this one keyboard and I've hooked it up to all 3 manuals and pedal board. So basically, I can play everything at once via one keyboard. So basically, I don't even need these couplers, I can just play everything from this one keyboard. Anyway, here we have another interesting quint, a 1 1/7 Septima. Now that means the lowest note of this is going to be a B flat. Sounds pretty interesting by itself, but if you combine it with some other quints, like if you take the 1 1/7, you combine it with a 1 1/3, a 1 3/5, and a 2 2/3, you get, well, this. Not my favorite organ sound, but it's there if you feel like it. Anyways, so we have a pretty rare stop here, a 1-foot octave. It's pretty rare, very rare, to see a rank of organ pipes that is only a single foot in pitch, 1 foot. Now this is 3 octaves higher than standard pitch, therefore middle C is 3 octaves higher. You can imagine up here in some of these higher notes gets really high. Now, unfortunately, something went wrong with this 1-foot octave rank in the audio files, because when I play this high C, it goes back to the G. You can hear how that is the same note, and then it goes back, and then A, B, C. It finally plays the high C, and then this F sharp and G both play a C sharp. those play the same note. So the highest notes of a 1-foot octave is a bit broken, but anything below that high C is correct and sounds pretty good. So, we have a 2-rank cymbal mixture, which is very high-pitched. Wouldn't recommend using it by itself. Even the lowest note is pretty high up there. Here we have an 8-foot Krumhorn, which is very distinct because it has a very loud buzzing tone quality to it. Then we have a 16-foot bassoon, is what that translates to. Once again, 16-foot, pretty low notes. Pretty dry sound for some of those notes, actually. Very nice. What do we have down here? 4-foot Gemshorn. We have another 8-foot Gedakt. We have a 16-foot Gedakt extension that goes with it. Once again, turn your volume up, turn your volume up because pretty low, pretty quiet. Here we have 8-foot Halflojt, pretty nice sound. Here we have an 8-foot Geigen Principal, which is a string principal, pretty unique sound. So here is the tremulant of the positive. How about a Principalflojt Gemshorn Gedakt Geigen Principal? Pretty nice. So that was our positive division. How about the Swell division now? Let us start with a 8-foot Halflojt. Here we have a 4-foot Principal. Here we have an 8-foot Salicional, pretty quiet, turn the volume up. Here we have a very unique stop, 8-foot Viol Celeste. What's unique about the 8-foot Viol Celeste, what's unique about that, is it is tuned slightly sharp than what it should be. So if I transition back and forth between Salicional and Viol Celeste, you will hear the Viol Celeste is slightly sharp. You hear that difference. Now what happens when you combine these together, you can have a double-layered string sound with vibrato. It makes a nice wavering sound. Very nice sound. Here we have 8-foot chimney flute. Then we have a 16-foot extension to that, the Gedakt Pommer. So here is our 16-foot flute, the largest flute on the organ that I am aware of. Once again, turn volume up, turn bass boost on, pretty low notes. What else do we have? Options. So we have an 8-foot Principalflojt, unique sound. Here we have the 8-foot Salicional an octave higher, 4-foot. Here we have another 2 2/3 flute quint. The same one as what's on the positive. Here we have a 2-foot wood flute. Here we have another 1 3/5 quint with E as the lowest note. Here we have another pretty rare, unique 1-foot. That translates into Sivflojt, and Sivflojt translates to whistle. So technically this rank is a 1-foot whistle, the highest notes and the smallest pipes of the organ. The highest note, the smallest pipe, is only 0.5 inches. That was a G 5 octaves higher than middle C, which is over 12,000 vibrations. The pipe that plays that only half an inch long. Might want to actually turn your volume down for those notes, just so you don't lose your hearing. Here we have a 3-rank Mixtur. Very shouty, very loud by itself. Wouldn't play that for too long on its own. Gets a little annoying after a while. But it's not too bad when used correctly. So here I actually don't know what these terms translate to, but here's what they sound like. So this one is 8 feet in pitch. It's an 8-foot reed. Not exactly sure what. Kind of a trumpety bassoon kind of a sound. Here is another reed, a 16-foot reed called the Dulcian. Once again, very unique, very distinct sounds. So we have a 16-foot coupler here, which once again plays the same note an octave lower for you. If I take the 4-foot whole flute, play middle C, plays an octave higher for me. No, an octave lower, excuse me, because it's 16. Here is the tremulant Swell with, how about the Principal, Salicional, and wood flute. Very nice, very well made tremulant. So here we have the best for last, the pedal, the lowest notes and the largest pipes of the entire organ. In the pedal is not just low notes. Here we have a 4-foot flute. Here we have the smallest rank in the pedal, a 2-foot night horn. That's what that translates to. Here we have a 4-foot octave. Here we have 8-foot Gedakt. Here we have a 8-foot cello. Here we have an 8-foot principal. There is an extension to this, the 16-foot principal. Now, 16-foot principal pipes, those are the very large principal pipes that you would find in the facade of an organ. So whenever you see images of an organ and you see the giant principal pipes in the facade, that's what these are. So that last pipe, a principal pipe 16 feet long, producing a frequency of only 32 Hz. Once again, get your subwoofers out for that one pretty low. Only audio systems of good quality are able to reproduce that. Here we have a 16-foot subas, I believe you say that. Creating some very full and round bass frequencies. There is an extension to this 16-foot sub-bass. It's either sub-bass or subas, I'm not exactly sure. But here we have 32-foot Untersatz, I want to say is how you say that. But this is one of the two 32-foot stops on the organ. The largest pipe of this rank being 32 feet long, which is over 3 stories tall. And the bottom 32-foot octave by itself is not too useful, just a bunch of air comes out and no distinct sound or really much frequency. You have to use other stops with it to have a much better 32-foot notes come out of it, and I'll show that in a minute. But here it is by itself. So here is the Untersatz with, how about the 16 and 8 principals. Now let's remove that 8 principal. So if you hear any wavering, that's what that was. Those were 32-foot notes. So there's that, and there's also an extension to the cello that I forgot to show, the 16-foot violon, the largest string stop of the organ. So, now we have a 4-rank mixture in the pedal, which I believe goes in perfect fifths, so C, E, G, C. So there's that. Then we have a 16-foot trombone. There is a 32-foot contra trombone extension to this. This is the largest reed in the organ and the lowest notes of the organ. The Untersatz, the 32, also has the lowest notes, but these lowest notes are much louder. So, if you would like a 32-foot reed, there it is. Pretty gnarly sounds. Okay, so here we have some trumpets. Here's a 4-foot. An 8-foot trumpet. Which borrows notes from the trombone. Here we have a 16-foot dulcian, again, just like in the Swell. Then the 8-foot Krumhorn. So, that was the full pedal division. So I believe I have covered each individual stop, including couplers and tremulants. So I will now show every stop in the entire division shown individually. So here's what full pedal sounds like. Extremely loud. Here is full swell with tremulant and coupler. Here is full great, including tremulant and coupler. Here is full swell, including full positive, including tremulant. So, that was the virtual pipe organ stop tour video showing each and every individual stop there is on the extended Berea Church organ on the Grand Orgue virtual pipe organ software. And I will leave you with this treat. That is the full power of this organ. That was full organ right there. That was the Halo theme song on full organ. So that is what I will leave you with. That was the virtual stop tour of the Berea Church organ extended. Hope you enjoyed, and if you like videos like this, please make sure to like and subscribe to see more videos like this. And I will see you soon. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.